I'd like to call the meeting to order. I'd like to announce that this meeting is being recorded and videotaped. And I'd like to start with member introductions. Don't really help much sometimes. Would you like to start with member introductions, Ruth?
Sure. Ruth McGrath, Secretary. Introduce yourself.
Okay, Thornton.
City Councilor Mary Ann Birch.
Patty Shaughnessy, ADA Coordinator and Senior Center Director.
Anna Coyle, Chair. It doesn't look like we have any public comment today. Would anybody like to make a motion to approve the minutes from the October 20th?
Move to approve the minutes of October 20th.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Ruth. Thank you. All right.
So we have to vote, Pam.
Oh, yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. So voting. All right. All right. Well, it looks like our first agenda item for today is the outdoor bench purchase for the senior center, and that is presented by Councilor Labarge.
Yes, I brought this concern that I had, how we had, excuse me, donated 2 benches on the Commission on Disabilities for the Center of Florence. Looking at where we have our commission meetings, which is the senior center, that I would like approval of ordering a bench and placing it right out here at the senior center for the Commission on Disabilities, donated by us.
So the plaque would read,
Just like we did up in Florence, yeah.
Oh.
And I was asked by Councilor Labarge if we had room out there underneath the overhang, and we do have room to have another bench out there. So that could work.
Right, that way you can sit right there, you can wait for your buses, you can do whatever.
Thank you, that's very,
Can we make a motion to that?
yes.
Yeah, sure, talk about it.
Okay, so I'll make a motion that we agree with Councilor Labarge's concern that we purchase a bench to be donated to the senior center with the appropriate plaque on it.
I second that.
So then what happens is I let Susan Wright know that the commission voted to have a bench and a plaque, and then that will go to City Council to expend funds from the handicap parking fine fund.
Okay, we still have to, all in favor?
Yes, all in favor?
Aye.
You have to be all in favor.
Oh, all in favor?
Aye.
Yes.
Well, thank you. It's a worthwhile expenditure, I think, for here. Thank you.
Patty, question, how much was it for one bench? Do you remember? What was the total for cheap? Was that 2000s?
I'm going to not try to guess because I really don't recall or how much the plaque was, but I'll make a note and I'll email everybody what that cost was, because I do have a folder just about benches.
Okay, so are we going to go through the Department of Public Works again to order it, or are we going to do it on our own?
We can do it either way, but I think Rich Parcelletti would be very helpful.
I do too.
You know, he was really great with the benches up in Florence. And then they install it too, which is nice because they have to put it together, but then it gets bolted to the cement so that it doesn't leave.
Right, and they also install the plaque.
Yeah, and put the plaque on it too.
Yeah.
So I will email everyone that information, the cost.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And could you let us know when you're notifying Susan on
I'll actually notify her tomorrow.
that? Great, thank you.
Thank you, Councilor Labange. That's a really great idea. That's wonderful. Thank you.
Well, I felt that because we use this site,
Yeah,
we could at least donate it to a site that we deal with.
right. Yeah. Yep. Thank you. All right. Our next agenda item is Ruth McGrath presenting any updates that we have on the Disability Commission brochure.
I don't know if anybody had time to know.
I'm going to be very honest, I have not.
Yeah, I
And,
don't think anybody has, so.
well, I have, when you, the first time you gave it to us,
Uh-huh.
I started working on it, and I do have a lot of corrections, but when I would have to locate what I did.
Right.
So maybe if we really put an effort into doing this for January, I don't know if that's fair to say January.
Yeah.
Sure, or maybe even February, give everybody a chance to come back and remind
Exactly.
everybody in January.
And
Because
Okay.
the other members won't know about it.
And possibly Patty could send us some of the changes on it. I don't even have the brochure.
I'll give you another one, I have one. They're just a draft, and when I put it together, I left great big open spaces, and then I used fillers, like the same thing in 2 or 3 places, just so it would have the right shape, you know? But there's a lot that can be added and changed to it. It was just a really rough draft.
So, a couple of the things I had put down as suggestions for it was to have some pictures like of the benches, of the Braille menu, and you had the seal on it, so that would be good. And then there was one other thing, you know, to have pictures put within the brochure as well.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
It'll draw
Where
interest.
menus in large print.
And the benches. And did anybody take a picture of the health and safety fair with the
I did.
Disability Commission? You took, so
Yeah,
we
I
could do a
did.
picture of how, you know, we participate in those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm sorry, Ruth, that I haven't really gotten to
I
it.
haven't either.
Yeah, everybody's been busy, and it wasn't anything I was asked to do. I just picked it up and, you know, thought it'd be a good way to get our name out there if we could, had something we could hand out and
Yeah.
put on tables and stuff like that.
So February, we're gonna put it, you know, give you everything. We're all gonna work on it and
Yes.
And I'll bring some of these pictures that I have with me, and I'll stop and get like pictures of the benches, and I'll get some pictures of the Braille and large print menus, and then we can all look at those too and see which ones, if any, we want to put into it.
Yeah. Why don't we just make the February meeting strictly on the roundtable on this commission of going through the brochure?
Okay.
Okay, so only the brochure.
That's a suggestion. I think it would be wise.
Right, because we could get everybody's input right then and there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So Ruth, I'm just going to say the person that I did hear from about not coming tonight was Chris Palama, so he's excused.
Yeah, he emailed me too. I think he emailed everybody, actually.
Yeah, I think you're right, I think that's true. Whenever it gets hit, that's what it is. So that's how sensitive it is, the paper. I'll say, hitting the pen. It's sensitive.
But it's nice we can all hear.
Okay. Well, our next agenda item is handicap parking spaces at the Northampton Senior Center. Oh, I'm sorry. Does anybody have any further questions about the Braille brochure or any comments they'd like to make?
Yes, because I think by having the roundtable at our February meeting, that hour would be spent going through the brochure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So if you send me a clean copy of that, I think I can have it ready at the meeting for people to work on. You know, make a bunch of copies so we can keep working on it.
Okay, sure.
Our next agenda item is handicap parking spaces at the Northampton Senior Center, brought to us by Ms. Patty Shaughnessy.
So the commission last year voted at least 2 times that we should have additional handicap parking back here. And it's something that I had always felt we needed as well. And so I went through the procedure of transportation and parking, where they were drafting an ordinance. And so the long story short is that we have 3 handicap parking spaces, and I'm happy to report that the signs were put in today. Yeah, so they're across the parking lot on this side. So you'll see 3 handicap parking signs
I saw.
over here. And actually, I saw somebody this afternoon pull into one of them, and I said, ooh, I hope they realize that's a handicap parking space, and they certainly did. So, and actually, a couple people had pulled in there as well. So,
And what had happened with that whole situation, the ordinance came to city council, we voted on it for the first reading. And then the mayor sent to each one of us councilors a reply back that you didn't need an ordinance.
yeah, so
So there's a
that's
total of
settled.
7 now, right?
4, 5, 6, 7, yes. Yep. Yeah, we'll see how that goes, and, we'll keep checking about the adequacy of it.
Check on brown bag days and nutritional outreach days.
Yeah. The other thing that we could do here, we have those temporary handicap signs that City Clerk Wendy Mazza has for polling locations, and we put those out around so people can park, because it's only for less than 10 minutes that people usually need to park there. So maybe that's something we could really start thinking about, because, we do serve a population that is healthy, but we also serve a population that, has some disability needs.
That's super, that's great.
So I don't think you can go wrong having additional handicap parking spaces.
That sounds really good. That's a welcome addition at the senior center to have so many spaces for people. Thank you. Thank you very much. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to add on this topic?
On what topic?
On the topic of handicap parking spaces? No? All right, well, our next agenda item is new business. Does anybody have any new business that they'd like to talk about?
Yes. I would like to thank all the residents in the city of Northampton, all the children, their families, wishing them happy holidays and a safe New Year's. And that's from our commission.
And one of the ways everyone can remain safer is by people shoveling their sidewalks and clearing those curb cuts, so people can have accessibility to get to and from a place. So perfect.
Also, too, Patty, is there a listing of who you might have to help our disabled people with shoveling, like their sidewalks and so forth?
Each year, we put together a list of people who either want to be paid or will volunteer to do shoveling or snow plowing. So Crystal Cody Stowe's, the assistant director, is working on that by developing the list. Some years we might have 7 or 8 people, other years we might have 2 or 3 people.
Thank you.
So
Where's that list
we'll have that.
published?
Say that again?
Where is that list published or put out or?
We have it inside the reception desk. Yeah, people usually call. So that is being worked on. And I hope we have the list together before it snows.
Also, too, before it snows, are we going to make sure that you know how they make the calls about emergency parking and so forth? To add also the sidewalks have
Yeah.
to be shoveled?
Yeah, what Councilor Labarge is talking about is for the I'm going to cough again. The senior center has on WHMP, sorry, has we put on the 3 TV stations in WHMP, but what the situation is if we're closed or open. So Councilor Barge is asking about doing that for this. I'm sorry, it's just,
Take your time. Nothing like H2O, that does help.
Oh, yes.
it's not as bad as it was. Sorry. My
Once it starts,
apologies.
it never wants to stop.
I know,
Oh.
it's a key. So I will get a code so that we can do it for the Disability Commission.
I don't have any candies. Do you have candy?
Oh,
I'm okay. It'll be okay. Yep. Oh, so I was going to do an announcement, but I'm trying to find the announcement on my phone. The Board of Health is going to be here, or the Health Department is going to be here. For what? The Northampton Health Department's going to be here November 30th to do a presentation, and it's about what to do in a snow emergency. So I'm trying to find.
Doesn't that involve the fire department also?
She has Meredith O'Leary, the director, has a number of people coming.
I got that poster.
Okay,
I was
yeah.
going to read it off at city council.
Well, that'd be good. And what I can do is send that poster to everybody.
Crystal sent it to everybody, I think who has a scan card, because I know Bill got it, I got it. I signed up for it.
And then there's a lunch to go with it. Yeah. So that's probably the best thing for me to send it to everybody.
What was the date on that?
November 30th.
At what time? 11, isn't it?
I think it's 11 to, that's why I was trying to find it. Oh, here we go. I got it.
You got it, because if not, I do.
It's coming. Okay, winter weather preparedness for seniors. Monday, November 30th, here at the Senior Center from 11 to 12:30.
You got RSVP.
Yeah. Personal preparedness and emergency kit, winter driving and car maintenance tips, snow safety, Hampshire County Regional Shelter overview, reverse 911 and alerting system, senior home safety inspection, and then questions and answers and a raffle, and then lunch will be served following the presentation.
How much is the lunch?
I don't think there's a cost for it.
There's no check.
Could you put me in that form? I'd appreciate that. Hi, James.
Hi, how are you? I'm sorry I'm late.
We're all done.
what day is that?
It's a Monday.
You did say
November
Monday, that's what
30th. And it starts at 11 o'clock. And what I will do, Hannah, you don't have email, do you?
No.
Maybe before you leave, I can make a copy of it.
Okay, I'm more than likely maybe able to attend.
There's a winter preparedness workshop that the health department's going to be putting on November 30th. Preparedness for seniors. So November 30th, 11 to 12:30. And what I'll do is I'll send this to everybody, because some people have gotten it because we sent it through our My Senior Center software program.
Yeah, Joanne sent it to me. She sends me all the posters so I can read my
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, thank you for doing that. Get people to know what's going on.
And the dinner, the holiday dinner, she announced that.
Yeah, the Senior Center puts on a holiday dinner each year for seniors, and it is Sunday,
December 5th.
December.
December, when is that, Pat?
It's,
Oh, I'm sorry, December 13th.
Yeah, at 11:30. Tickets are on sale. They are $10 for Northampton
Where is that?
It's gonna be here,
Here at the senior center.
Yeah.
So it's a lunch, it's at 11:30 though?
11:30.
So it's a lunch.
We call it our holiday dinner.
Okay. Okay, there we go, okay.
You can call it whatever you
No,
want.
the reason
It's
why
great
they
food.
do that because people are here. Because Wendy and I are here to help Patty out at 10:30 in the morning.
Okay.
And people start coming in at 10 minutes of 11 and then want to get right into the room, so we got a new system now.
Do you need any volunteers, Patty, at all?
I think, I'm going to say I believe that there are enough volunteers at this point. There are certain groups who tend to do the serving, which are a couple, or one of the Boy Scout troops in our community. And then sometimes the East Hampton cheerleaders have helped out.
Yeah.
So-
It was perfect last year.
Yeah, and a number of people volunteer in the kitchen to do the cooking.
And they're serving turkey. And Paul Neiman, doesn't he do the cooking, and who does all the
Paul Deeman does cooking, Barbara Kaczynski, John Kaczynski, Lorraine Wyman.
And they have raffles. Okay, so like several people donate with a raffle and your name is presented on the plaque. And they love it.
It's a nice, makes people feel,
Yeah,
Yeah, my mother might be able to go to
yeah, that'd be great.
Oh,
she'd
that's
like
nice.
that.
that. She's able to, the health, so.
You can bring her.
She can bring her, she can go.
And we'll get her a good cheer, because I know she has
Yeah, she's
a
back.
need for, yeah.
Back if she's got issues.
Yeah, but my back is the same problem too, and it's like sitting. You could bring your mother, Rick.
Yeah.
Why? Huh?
It's $10 a piece.
There.
Also,
So the tickets are $10, residents, seniors of Northampton, out of town, it is $15.
Correct, yeah.
Oh.
We've opened it up, so there's a limited number of tickets for out-of-town people.
all right, that sounds good. Sounds like something that the citizens will really enjoy, and it's a time for them to socialize and
Celebrate whatever their holiday is.
And who do they have for music?
I'm not sure who we've chosen this year. Try to switch it out, so to tell you right now who it is, I couldn't tell you. But we usually do have entertainment, as you mentioned, we have door prizes. Sometimes we have students from JFK or from one of the churches come to sing as well.
It's fun, it really is.
that sounds
And I think
very,
it's good.
oh, that's nice. Sounds like a really nice event for the city and the citizens.
I would like to, because it's only 25 after 5, and since we have James Winston who just came in at 20 after 5, just to give him an update on the outdoor benches.
Oh, sure. Yes, please.
Okay.
Please do.
Patty, you want me to talk?
Yeah, sure, that was because this was here.
I had called Patty like about a week and a half ago, in regards to our Commission on Disabilities had donated 2 benches up in Florence from the Commission on Disabilities. And because we have our monthly meetings here, of why not donating a bench right here underneath
Yeah.
where, you know, it protects people for sitting and so
Yeah.
forth like that. So we approved it.
Oh, good, all right. Yeah. Yeah, that's good.
And I should just mention about the benches in Florence, that I do see people using them.
Oh, I do
Oh, yeah,
too.
people on benches wherever they are.
Yeah,
They
so
are.
They're of use and of value
Yep.
to people out there.
So Patty's going to have it all set up and send it to Susan Wright, our financial director, so she can set that up and send it to city council so we can vote on it.
So we look forward to having another bench.
Yes.
It's great when you see people out there sitting,
Right.
you know, either they're waiting for something or they're
Right.
talking with each other, hanging around.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
so
gives
that's it.
people a chance to, when the temperatures are nice, to spend some time outside and, enjoy some
I mean, I've
fresh air.
seen people just like with the craft fair, who were coming out the door, and I said, oh, I need to sit down, and they sat down and rested.
Yeah. Yeah.
It reminds me of people waiting for the train, you know,
I know,
at the
it's
railroad
true.
station, you know, with the overhang and.
Uh-huh. Oh, that's it.
All right.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're welcome.
And probably you can give him an update about the brochures, of what we decided what we're going to do. Because none of us have looked at the brochure or anything, and Patty has had some suggestions. So we are making a decision to have a complete roundtable for our February meeting.
Okay.
That will strictly be on the brochures.
Mhm.
What about our January meeting, Patty?
Well, you know, what we could do
Skipping
in January is decide what we want to do for the whole year. You know, what is it, who would we want, what do we want to plan?
Just strictly that for January 19th?
Yeah, I don't know, it could take a half hour, it could take an hour, it depends. If people come with ideas, then we can really talk about it, but if we don't get ideas, then, so that would be my suggestion. I welcome anything people have to say to do at the January meeting.
Maybe we can decide on a new project.
What a new
Do
project.
something, try to find something we can do, like we did with the menus, something.
So would we want to say that the January meeting would be a planning session and,
Planning, brainstorming.
Yes, right.
and be sure to bring at least one idea? We've got to bring one idea for what the commission, either as a major project or for, guest speakers, or what is it we want to accomplish. Okay, so there we have January, February set.
The only thing I wanted to add to the topic, our agenda item on snowstorms and snow removal is I'd like to ask that when landlords and residents keep their pathways, doorways, and sidewalks clear, that also if they could look at their trash bins and dumpsters and keep that area free of snow and ice as well. Because I've often found in the past that this area is a possible falling site for several people.
Who is
because
this? Is this a private entity?
Well, usually, there's different apartment buildings that have trash bins outside their buildings, and sometimes there's ice in front of the trash bins that isn't removed. So I wanted to ask if landlords and residents could use an ice chipper when necessary to keep, to help prevent people and citizens from falling.
Is there an association with these places you're talking about?
Well, there's different residences. I think it's just something that we could all keep an eye on, and if we do see that if the trash bins
Or
are.
send a letter,
Mhm.
like,
Mhm.
wherever you're talking about, or where you live, or wherever,
Mhm.
is I would suggest sending a letter to the private owners
Mhm.
in regards to that concern.
Yeah, I don't know. Have you found that you've seen that elsewhere in the city? No?
Yeah, it would be up to the property owner to make sure that
Exactly.
it's accessible. So I would think tenants would be the ones to call the owners or the management company to say, hey, we can't get into the trash bin. One of the things excuse me, that I notice is bus stops
Yeah.
aren't necessarily plowed out. So you sit inside that and then the snowbank, and so what do? Jump over the snowbank to get
Right.
the bus?
Mhm.
So,
That's a problem.
and I know it's like, well, whose responsibility is that?
It's usually always a curb cut, so if you're in front of the bus stop,
No,
no? I was thinking somebody in a wheelchair that's in a bus stop and wants to get on the bus, they need to have some way to get down.
yeah, I believe there is not a curb cut, at least the one that I'm thinking of in front of the post office, the one in Florence that well, there's another picture, we helped get that bus stop
Yes.
in there. That it's the sidewalk and then the booth, the stop itself is back a little from the sidewalk. But there's one over in Hadley, right at the intersection in Hadley, in front of that charter school. And so there's a bench where people can sit down, but the snowbank is like higher than the bench, and I would have no idea how anybody would be able to catch the bus.
I know that's a problem Bill had in Florence, by that Oriental restaurant and the new Sunshine Bakery. On the outside edge, there's a bus stop, it's just a sign with a thing, there's no bench, but you can't get off the street. If you're gonna catch the bus at that stop, you have to wait on the side of the street, because you can't get over the snow piles. They just plow the street and ignore the bus stop there.
Yeah, I mean, there's not always like a ending point. So here's the bus stop, and then here's the snow in front of it. And, you may have to go down, 100 feet to catch the bus, because that's where the end of the sidewalk is. So it's,
I wonder if Richard Castelletti, if we just sent him a letter of looking at that one over in Florence by Valley Medical Center, if a curb cut could be placed there.
well, I think it's great to have a curb cut, but who's going to keep it clear?
It's
That's
the city's responsibility if it's a curb cut on the street.
because there's the
It's a
curb
city
cut
street.
just down, if you're looking at it from the road, there's, the sidewalk, and then there's the curb cut, to the entrance into Valley Medical. But there isn't one in front of it.
But where the bench is, right, it's the bench, the sidewalk, and there's not a curb cut.
No, it's the curb itself, and then there's
Exactly.
parking spaces.
So why couldn't they?
I think that I gotta look at that more, because would there be parking spaces in front of a bus stop? Because the buses, I don't think there are.
I thought they took those out.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Took two
thinking.
of them out, I think.
You need to be able to get out of the, bus stop, cross the sidewalk to get into the bus, so there mustn't be, you can't have cars parked in front. I'll look at that and then,
Yeah.
check in with Rich.
Okay.
I also wanted to mention as an agenda item that businesses sweep and remove leaves off of sidewalks. I asked that they remove the leaves from the curbsides of Main Street. This makes more space for citizens to step onto sidewalks, and it also helps prevent falls. Yeah. Does anybody have anything that they'd like to add to this topic? Any difficulties that they've found with this topic?
Well, it's not really generally this topic, and this is probably more of a city council board of health, but we are a disability commission, and dangers of secondhand smoke are well known, and one of these days, hopefully sooner than later, there's some type of statute that people can't smoke on Main Street, because you walk on Main Street and you're walking behind someone that's puffing away, you're breathing that secondhand smoke, And just like people used to smoke in stores, and now we say, wow, I can't believe people used to smoke in stores, I can't believe people used to smoke in restaurants, in airplanes, in elevators. And someday, it should be, wow, remember those old bad days when people used to smoke on Main Street and, you know, you'd be walking? So that would be my big thing that I would try to push, you know,
And I
with this
think
city.
also another big thing was the people on Main Street asking for money all
Oh,
the
yeah, the
time.
panhandlers, yes.
And if you talk with Bill Newman,
Yeah, I
I mean,
know.
that's their legal rights. I've worked with Bill
I
on that.
know. Like the whole city is afraid of Bill Newman. No, I'm serious. I mean, he's a friend of mine, but I mean, the businesses don't like it. The pedestrians don't like it. I've had people say to me, just from walking down to Thorns, down to Sweeties, they get stopped 5 or 6 times by different people.
That's true, I do.
And it's not good for business.
Did you see the article on 22 about the panhandlers?
I think so. I think I know when you
It was
guys
like,
know.
it was, what's today? Tuesday, so it's Thursday. I think they had it last week.
Oh, yeah, which ones are really legitimate and which
And
ones aren't
which-
legitimate?
And some of them
Yeah.
are working together now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was this
Also,
in
like,
Northampton?
Yeah.
on Veteran Services, which I'm on, there were people out there saying I'm a veteran and some were not.
Oh, I'm sure.
And Steve already knew who was and who wasn't, so he worked with them,
Yeah.
you know? So there's many issues out there, but there's also civil rights.
Well,
It's a biggie.
I think the panhandling civil, you know, right to do that, I think is a separate thing. The secondhand smoke is purely a health issue. And if people don't care about their own lungs, they're not gonna care about your lungs breathing your secondhand smoke. I can tell you that right now. So, anyways.
Well,
I mean,
that's something that has to be done through the state.
Right, and the reason why I mentioned that is because what Anna was saying about in the winter, the sidewalks narrow because of snow. And usually when I'm walking and I see someone coming towards me smoking, I want to go away from them so I don't breathe the secondhand smoke. And when there's an abundance of smoke on the sidewalks, it's narrow, you have less maneuverability to get around the secondhand smoke. That's why I thought of it when you mentioned about the sidewalks and the debris.
Oh, well, the state will do something with it, hopefully.
Thank you for mentioning that. That's a very good topic to talk about
Yeah.
now and in the future as well. Yes.
And the sidewalks would be cleaner
Yeah.
as well.
It's true.
A lot
Yeah,
of
the
side
cigarette
benefits.
They're smoking cigars too.
Yeah, well, those are the most.
I can't stand the smell of
Oh,
those.
That's too make you sick.
Awful.
We won't get into chewing tobacco.
Yeah.
Okay.
So when that ever becomes a rallying point, I'm sure that this commission would be
Yes.
with it.
Oh, yeah, there'll be lawsuits and there'll be this and there'll be that.
They'll get used to it. They get used to not smoking in restaurants. They get used to not smoking.
I know, and it was
in-
like, and I just remember too that, oh, if you take away smoking, the restaurants aren't gonna do well, people aren't gonna come to restaurants, and, you know, the doom and gloom didn't happen.
But they'll still light up.
We're,
No matter what you pass, we don't have the force to go out and do what they're supposed to do. Every ordinance that we've had placed needed to have enforcement.
sometimes there's not that. Yeah.
I mean, we're happy now, we have a new police chief, and we have police officers on bicycles again.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does anybody have any other agenda items that they would like to discuss? The next topic is announcements. Does anyone have any announcements?
I already made that announcement about the snow preparedness,
We did that.
winter preparedness, and I will send that to everybody tomorrow.
I bumped into Mike Nagy recently. I don't know if anyone has spoken with him recently.
Mike Nagy.
Mike Nagy?
I haven't seen him since our meeting.
He mentioned to me that he is stepping down from the commission. And I don't know if he might change his mind in the future, but this was the message that he gave me directly at that time.
Did he email you or?
No, I saw him in person and I talked with him. So it sounds fairly definite. Yeah.
Do you think he's going to send a letter that he's resigning? Because it should be in writing if he's going to resign. I mean, I can email him and ask him to do that. It can be through an email, so, but if that's what he's going to choose to do. And maybe if I send an email, maybe he's thinking of something different from what he said to you. Because he's been on the commission a long, long time.
Yes, he has. Yes, he's done, he's worked diligently on several items and projects over the years. And so, but he has some personal things that he'd like to attend to.
I'm not going to put anything in the minutes though until you talk to him, okay?
What?
I'm not going to put anything in the minutes about it until Patty tells me.
Well, you can put in the minutes that Hannah
Yeah,
mentioned
what she
that she's
said.
up, and that there's a possibility he may be resigning, and that I will follow up with that.
But I think Patty Chris Columbus's wife had filled out an application too to get
Yeah,
in.
see. So the thing I could mention is that Letitia Ward, who was on our commission and then she went to school in Canada, she's been interested since then coming back, that she wanted to be on the commission. And so her name was put up for nomination. And the council voted first reading, and then the second reading is Thursday for Letitia.
Yeah, but there's a question that Bill approached me with, and he's checking it out.
So then if Mike, well, we'll wait and figure out if that's happening, if there's an opening. So check and see who else has applications in the mayor's office.
All right. Does anybody have anything else that they'd like to say or add? Or?
Happy holidays.
Happy
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to everyone. That's
January 19th.
Yes. Our next meeting, January 19th.
I will
I make a motion, I second that.
Ted?
Thank you.